Here comes one.
34 minutes late, but here we are. This week on the Movie Stuff Show.
Yeah, there you go.
Roundtable discussion, X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome once again to the Movies and Stuff Show. We got a show this week. What the fuck, man? Come on. We just...
Don't curse right off the bat.
It's too late. It's too late. It already happened. This is the second week in a row that we've had some technical difficulties, but here we are. I am joined this week with my co-host Abe.
Hey, what's up? This is not our fault. This is not our fault.
At all.
Just want to say that.
My buddy Marty. Marty, thanks again.
Hello, everybody.
And Jamil, Tom.
I have to say, I'm just going to point out, Vegetable Lasagna had fewer technical difficulties than you guys this week.
Absolutely.
This week.
Yes.
You guys are getting there. You guys are starting to, be a better show than us, so it's time for us to retire. The channel's yours. You've earned it.
Oh, good.
I appreciate you joining us literally last minute, Tom. You just saw the film, right?
I literally just drove home and got here, and then Abe says he wanted me on. So, yeah, it's fresh.
I used the word film. I should say you saw the movie, because we are discussing X-Men Apocalypse, which I don't know if we want to refer to as a film. This is the latest in the X-Men series. It's I guess the third in a trilogy of the reboot films that started with X-Men First Class, followed up by Days of Future Past. All right, let's just go around real quick, get your general feelings of the film. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Marty, we'll start with you.
I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed most of the X-Men movies. I think it did a nice job wrapping up the original trilogy, or not original, the second original trilogy, we'll call it. And still kind of sets the ground for the movies to come. I mean, the ending has problems. For a movie called Apocalypse, there's nothing really apocalyptic about it. That's an issue. But all in all, it tells a nice story. It's an X-Men movie. They don't play on the same level, I don't think, as the Marvel movies. They don't have to make the $300 million openings. So I think for an X-Men movie, it did its job. I enjoyed it. I don't have to think about it the next week. So on that level, it's fine.
Tom, it's fresh in your mind.
Yeah. It was, there's a weird trend with the superhero movies this year, and I kind of had a little hiatus from watching them. So I saw Days of Future Past last year, and then I saw Batman, Captain America, and this, and I feel like the three of them are in a race to see which can be the most lethargic, which has the least energy. They all just feel like they're showing up. It's like those days you go to work and you just, how long till it's over? And I feel like each one of these just is trying, so hard to just do what it thinks that people want, and it has nothing interesting to it. I think I didn't really like Days of Future Past that much, but at least it had some momentum to the plot. This one just feels so cobbled together with just, okay, let's go here, let's go here, let's go here. And then the actors don't really seem like they care. The characters are, whatever. There's no real anything here to this movie. It's just the same old thing we've seen a million times.
Now, Abe, when you saw it, you actually said what to me afterwards?
I think I liked it right about as much as I liked Civil War. It's just kind of.
I think you said better than.
Yeah, it's true. I liked it better than Civil War. That's true. That's not high praise coming from me, though. It held my attention a little bit longer than Civil War did. I wasn't near as fidgety. I didn't go out into the hall to message you saying I'm not doing another goddamn round table again. Yeah, so it's okay. There's nothing special about it, though. I was just, about it, really. And I don't think there's anybody from Game of Thrones outside of Cersei that can act. I swear to God.
Come on now. Disrespect. How do you disrespect Peter Dinklage like that?
Oh, that's true. I forget about him. Okay, so there's two people. You
know nothing, Abe.
I know nothing.
I think Sansa was pretty pretty awful in this film.
Well,
It's
she
just-
grew into Sansa, so she's much better now than she was in season 1. So think by X-Men 6, she'll be very good.
Well, I'm curious, Steven, just when we say X-Men 6, what were they thinking with that Return of the Jedi, the third one's always worst? Is that just a Brett Ratner knock? Or is
How could that be just a Brett Ratner?
I think it's a self-inflicted shot as well. I think it was a dual shot.
Why? Why is that in there? I guess that was a little confusing.
It was a shot at Ratner, which I don't think maybe you could say probably wasn't cool for him.
Especially because Singer dropped out of X.
Yeah.
To do
But then this is
Superman Returns.
But
and then this is the third.
Yeah, this is the third. Yeah.
So I think it was also a self-inflicted. If it's not as well received, well, we said so. So don't blame us, kind of thing.
But in the scheme of things, they shouldn't have even been able to see Empire Strikes Back since they came out in May of 1983, and this film was set January of 1983.
But how the hell else would we know it was set in the 80s, aside from Nightcrawler's Michael Jackson jacket?
They were all dressed for an 80s prom.
That's true.
They were.
And the thing
McAvoy's hair, Jubilee's jacket, that's all 80s. Come on now.
Yeah, but I mean, X-Men Days of Future Past made the 70s a living, breathing place. It really felt like you were there. This has none of that.
I don't even know why it's set in the 80s. I couldn't tell you.
Because they had to, because they hamstringed themselves by making First Class in the 60s.
Well, they threw in the nuclear stuff with Russia. That was kind of a nod to it, but they didn't have a fake Reagan like they had a fake Nixon in the last one. So that was a little weird.
It didn't feel like the 80s. I think it failed so miserably to use that backdrop of the 80s. Like they could have done so much more to make it feel and look like it. I think overall, I hated it. Like I thought it was terrible.
I don't know if you could hate the movie though. I got up level. It's just not.
I got up at one point and I left and I came back. I forced myself to come back to watch it. I was like, this is just it was really boring. I could not get into it. I think that Singer just can't be trusted. I think he really needs someone to kind of just slap him and say, no, this is stupid. It felt like he took a dozen comics, randomly just ripped out some pages and said, this is my film. This is my masterpiece. It didn't work for me. And then the whole Weapon X thing, he totally botched that. I think Jackman looking up at the security camera, it made me giggle at how cheesy it was. Like him.
Yeah, I think would that scene have been better for you had they not shown it in the last trailer, you think?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it would have been good at all.
Sucked Carlos? Okay.
I don't think so.
I enjoyed the brutality of the scene. It was a pretty brutal scene.
Actually, I'll get behind Marty on that. Yeah, I like the brutality of the scene overall.
Which sets up the next Wolverine movie is going to be an R-rated movie, so I think they wanted to set that tone for it.
Yeah, but I mean, it felt so out of place in this, and I think that they could have done an actual Weapon X movie. They didn't have to cram it into this. I think it just felt like just too many ideas. Maybe the studio just saying it's like, hey, throw this in. Honestly, the best stuff of the film, of course, once again, was Quicksilver. And even that kind of felt to me like I was less impressed with it. As much as I enjoyed it, I was less impressed by it because the impact factor, it was a repeat of what they did in Days of Future Past. It's almost like watching the second Matrix film. It's like okay, bullet time.
Yeah, woo-hoo. I liked it.
So cool.
I like the Zack Snyder inspired sequences. It elevates the movie.
I think these movies have the best actors. They just don't always act well. If that makes any sense.
I think
Jennifer
phoned it in on this
is
one
bad,
though. Yeah, and the script is really bad.
Jennifer Lawrence just is clear doesn't like putting on the blue makeup because she barely had it on as a Mystique in this movie. And so all her lines are just flat. Her entire delivery is just flat. But I think, these movies live on Fassbender and McAvoy. And I think they deliver it. But the only issue, I think, Magneto has a great story going with his, he's living his own life. He has to watch his wife and kid die. I guess we're doing spoilers here, I hope. And then you see his
with the
struggle.
loosest thrown arrow ever, by the way.
Yeah, that did catch me. I was like, how did that arrow go through both of them? But leave that aside for a second. His pain and his anguish is the core of the movie. But then he kind of just goes away as a secondary villain the rest of the way. And then the Apocalypse is just not that impressive. He just kind of comes in and out of scenes. His message is never really quite clear. The one big scene, he takes all the nukes of the world. You think, oh shit, what's going to happen here? And then nothing happens. It's like, oh, that's just. I guess that's a good thing almost.
He's so goofy.
Yeah,
everything about him and just the purple haze of it all, and all the the leather outfits he gives his cohorts. It's so silly, and you said it's out of place. I don't know what's in place in this movie. It's just all over everything. I feel like every 2 seconds I'm thinking, I don't know, is that supposed to be funny? Is it supposed to be serious? There's one line when I think it's when he's hijacking when Apocalypse is hijacking Cerebro, and they're asking what does he want? And they go in on Beast, and it's like, he wants to connect. And I just thought, this is just so silly. I don't know what I'm supposed to take seriously here.
Well, and the fact that Apocalypse just learns by tapping into an Egyptian TV.
Learning.
Were they playing I Love Lucy? I believe at the time was that on screen? I think it was I Love Lucy was on at the time.
I don't even remember. Yeah, it might have been.
And I think I alluded to it too. It's just the time frame of everything just seemed just so off here. And I started thinking about it afterwards, and I was like, okay, I guess they do the same thing in the comics, so maybe I'll give it a pass. But the fact is that First Class took place in 1962, and Havoc was in his 20s, we'll say, right?
They're mutants. They don't age like us, Dan.
But here you go. 20 years later, his parents, who are not mutants, are in their 40s. He should be in his 40s. He's got a younger brother. It just, come on.
I would say he was in his teens in the first one.
Still, his parents gave birth to him when they were 8.
But they have mutant in them.
Why I don't try to take these things that seriously. I just try to enjoy them as they are.
Neither does Singer, obviously.
You can nitpick these things to death if you want, but then what the fuck's the fun of anything anymore?
Whoa. By saying that, you think people should actually age normally like real people, that's nitpicky? That's the level of nitpicky we've...
If you want to say Rose Byrne doesn't age, then
I was going to get to that. McTaggart doesn't age at all, yeah.
And Rose Byrne,
this movie there'd be nothing to look at in this movie if Rose Byrne wasn't in
it. Well, she's the one responsible for everything because she didn't close the fucking door behind her and she let the sun in and Apocalypse rose again. Anyone catch that one?
Yes. Yep.
And also, I didn't know CIA agents were also like Indiana Jones type people.
I was confused about that. What's she doing there?
That whole opening sequence to me just felt like a mess.
I like the opening sequence.
Oh,
where,
really?
The guys from Egypt back in the day had the hand signals. That was fun.
Oh, man. I thought it was a complete mess. I thought it was a disaster.
I had no idea that pyramids were so unstable. I mean, you knock out a support of a pyramid, it all just falls down. I didn't know that. I learned something.
You guys are making me like this movie less. I don't get all
Now Marty's thinking about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Again, I think it really just goes back to the fact that I don't think Singer can do these things on his own. I think even in Days of Future Past, which I really enjoyed, I think Days of Future Past is probably my favorite out of the X-Men. I think I really highly regard it. I think he needed help. I think the second unit did the Quicksilver stuff in that one and well directed that. I just think he needs a guiding hand, a more, someone to just tell him no. And this one he had full range because Days of Future Past did well and then was liked by critics and fans. So they gave him more freedom and it just didn't work out. I mean, you think about this, though. I mentioned it earlier. He left X3 to do Superman Returns, which I actually don't hate Superman Returns, by the way. But Superman Returns was dropped off into his lap to finish up. It just feels like it's all these things that have Singer's DNA in it. It's just there's just something off about them. And I'm starting to look back. It's is Usual Suspects actually that great? Did he hire someone else to direct it, maybe?
Did you not like the first two X-Men either?
I think the first one terribly ages now. I don't think you can...
that was before even most of the superhero movies were out, so it's hard to judge that one. But X2 I thought was pretty
X2 is still good. X2 is still good. But I think he's just kind of go through the motions now at this point. He's done this so many times, and what did he do in between? He did Valkyrie, right? That was one of the films that he did kind of in between doing the X-Men movies. I don't know, man. I can't believe that this is the same guy that did Usual Suspects.
Usual Suspects is probably a script that was so good it couldn't get fucked up by him.
Not even by Ratner, maybe.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it could.
Well, the thing I love about Ratner, though, is the fact that he can just copy everyone. It's a bad photocopy of it, but he's really good at copying other people's work. So.
I think in terms of, you've mentioned the Quicksilver scene, that didn't work for you this time around as well. And I think one of my biggest problems with that is it completely undercuts any of the drama of the school blowing up, whereas in Days of Future Past, it was kind of like the fun... it was the fun little aside, they had to, they were saving, or they were getting Magneto out of the prison, I think, right? And so it was already kind of engineered. You could kind of just have some fun with it. The stakes aren't super high. Whereas in this one, the stakes should feel high, but they really don't. He comes in, it's played for laughs that the whole school is just blown up. And then you see at the end, they can just put it back together really easily. So, I don't know, it's the same thing I think you see with Civil War with any of these ones, where it's just, the more these superheroes go on, the superhero movies, the series go on, it's just that they try really hard to not have any stakes. And I think even Days of Future Past pretended it had more stakes, even though they could fix it all with the time travel by the ending. I mean, you had something going on there. This one is just so much. There's nothing that you couldn't see coming in this movie. And I think if at least they tried a little harder with the villain, it might have come together a little more. But, Oscar Isaac, what were they even trying to do with Apocalypse in this movie? What was the point of any of that?
I thought he was kind of an interesting fashion designer. He really was into designing costumes for the bad guys.
Yes. Well, he makes them all stronger. He lets Magneto know more of his power, so that in that sense, he's an important figure. But he kind of gives his message to the world, and then, as the world listens, and then he kind of moves a bridge or something. And Magneto's off on the corner for like 20 minutes, just
doing this,
dirt,
like with metal and dirt. Yeah, like.
And even the final fight sequence is just Magneto throwing metal at him for like 10 minutes. And then not much else.
I've got real problems with Magneto now. He has gone from good guy to bad guy, flippity floppity, in 3 straight movies. And Xavier forgives him, even after killing possibly thousands of innocent people this time. Every time, actually. But there's still some good left in him. Fuck off, Charles. This guy's a mass murderer.
Hey, he took out Auschwitz. That was a good scene.
He took out a museum.
I think they cannot. They're trying so hard not to progress the relationship with Charles and Eric. Every time it's the exact same conflict, essentially with the exact same circumstances even.
Yeah, it's been that way for 6 movies now.
And then it even ends on the same dialogue from the end of X1. And I'm thinking, so we really haven't accomplished anything at all with their relationship, the whole series. If we get to movie 6 and they're still having the exact same conversation they had at the end of movie 1.
And I almost felt like, because of Days of Future Past, seeing them in the future and seeing how everything went, it's like, it kind of diminishes like any conflict that they have before then. Like, I'm watching this now, it's like, oh, well, we know that in Days of Future Past, they become buddies in the future. Like, at this point, it's like,
I think you can probably make the argument Days of Future Past ending kind of invalidates any of these conflicts you're going to have for these other prequel movies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just go back to the original cast now, and then you can maybe have another conflict, but otherwise, we know how it turns out.
Yeah, it's so weird, and I know that, this is going to be a weird topic to bring up, and people are going to... I like the way that... the Star Trek series rebooted itself in the film, right? How they figured out that alternate kind of timeline, that worked really well for me. It's not working so well with the whole Days of Future Past now, because this is technically an alternate timeline that they're living in, that Wolverine went back to and changed it to alter the future. It's not working for me the same way that it did in Star Trek. That made clear sense to me. This is just so fucking confusing of what's going on. And is this the timeline that they should have been on? Is this what Days of Future Past corrected? And now, because they corrected that, Apocalypse came to being, No,
it sounds like they could have had a lot of fun with this idea, and they didn't. I don't know. There's not enough information to give you any answers.
I don't know. I thought it wrapped up a lot of the stuff from the first three, and I think they introduced some the new old characters, if that makes sense, in a better way. I think the Storm character has a little more of a backstory that the Halle Berry character never had. I think they might have a chance to get the Phoenix story correct now. They might get Cyclops better now, so there's hope, I think, for the future with these younger actors and a new way of telling these stories.
Isn't that kind of just like a boring goal, though? Like, oh yeah, maybe they'll do the same thing.
You know, I don't have great goals in life, there, Vegetable. You know, I just look for slight bits of joy along my way.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the script was really weak here. I do think that the actress that played Storm was good with what she had. It just wasn't much with what she had. I think
the Horsemen had almost nothing to do after they became Horsemen. I don't think Olivia Munn spoke the rest of the movie.
That just amused me no end. That she is literally nothing but a side Mortal Kombat character throughout this whole film, and she was shitting on Deadpool a little bit. I didn't want to be just the girlfriend.
I think I read somewhere where they had to like cut around her because she was bad, and so I'm not sure if it's clear that she's a good actress yet. So
I doubt she can't be that much worse than what made it to the screen, though. I mean, really.
Sophie Turner. I mean, that first interaction when she bumps into Cyclops, she's like, "Watch where you're going." I can't.
It was so shitty.
It was so
teenage Cyclops
so
was so annoying too. I don't know.
He was a bit of a dick.
Why do we need to make them all annoying teenagers now? Why is that the better progression of the series?
Because people like the '90s cartoons, and now we're going into the '90s movie.
I guess I never really watched any of that. Is this?
Well, you're too young.
Were the '90s cartoons good enough that we want $200 million versions of them?
They were really good. They're probably the best X-Men stories still that are really told.
The bar's not very high there, but yeah, he's right. It is the high. It is the best version.
Ruining X-Men for me.
It's the best version of X-Men we've ever got. Yeah.
I'm mad that they didn't give Oscar Isaac any acting to do at all. Oscar Isaac's so good. Why would you even go for someone like him?
He was tired off of Ex Machina and Star Wars. He just wanted to come and cash a check on this one.
I mean, you could have given this role to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it would have been fine. Would have been about the same.
He kind of looked like Mr. Freeze.
That's what I kept thinking.
I kind of like it. Was cool how he put the guy through the wall, and then when he comes to meet Magneto the first time, he's like, "You're not going to stop me from killing these guys," and he just kind of like blinks an eye, and they're all dead. I mean, that was pretty fun. Fuck you.
In that sequence, I think we're seeing Singer's real weakness as a filmmaker. Didn't it feel like this was an Egyptian set? Didn't it feel like
there was a lot of green screen feel to the last?
I just don't think Singer has a very good eye. I don't think he's able to really trick the audience into thinking it's something bigger than it really is. He makes it smaller.
When like Professor X is up on that mountain or whatever the hell it was with them, and it was all very. We're on a set in LA.
Yeah, Singer makes it small. He's got a claustrophobic eye.
I think that's part of what made X2 work, though, because that story embraced the claustrophobia of the Stryker compound, and it kind of worked. The bigger he gets, I agree. I mean, it looked like in any other movie that would be like a dream sequence when they're on the cliff there. It doesn't quite light up. The lighting's a little weird.
Yeah. It had a very dreamy thing to it. I think that was like after they shot that, maybe after McAvoy cut his hair, so they had to put a wig back on him, and it just didn't look right. And it was a odd sequence. He's always good as Professor X, so I always enjoy his character.
I don't think he did a bad job at all. I thought Fassbender was sleepwalking through. Yeah,
really just
He's sleepwalking through this. He's on autopilot.
He was good. I mean, the first half where they gave him stuff to do, I thought he was good, but then he just becomes one of the Horsemen. And I don't think Magneto. I guess it's true in the comics, but Magneto should never be one of a group. He should always be by his own, I thought. And I think in the comics, the sequence where him and Apocalypse fight is a much grander scene, and in this, they just kind of threw it together, and it was just a whole concept of the team beats the one, but it just didn't work.
Yeah, I almost felt like they wanted to have the Apocalypse villain because it's a fan favorite, and they just shoehorned it in. But this could have easily just been another Magneto film, and they could have just spent
Yeah.
more time developing him and making him the villain, and not even resolve it at the end. I think I mentioned to you, Abe, like have him still be a villain at the end. Like you can have a big battle and not have everyone die. You can have it where there's a battle and Magneto realizes he's being defeated because Charles has too many mutants on his side, and they retreat. And then the end is, both of them trying to recruit more people for the future movies. And then you leave it at that. You don't have to that's one of the issues. Is that it seems that, you bring in this villain, you kill him. You bring this villain, you kill him. Because they don't want to say, well, you're not just going to get beat and run away. I mean, if that was the case, you'd have one episode of G.I. Joe and Cobra Commander would be dead. That's it. No more future episodes.
Olivia Munn survived that she just quietly walked away during the movie.
Away. Yeah.
No one noticed. No one cared to notice.
And we lost Havoc in that comedic scene of Quicksilver running around to Sweet Dreams. We lost Havoc.
Havoc and
he's dead.
Angel died as well, even though that's the second time they've ruined his character.
Yeah.
And from what I see in the comics, I think he's like an original X-Men, so to strike out twice on him is pretty bad.
Yeah. But funny enough, it's like one of the more enjoyable. See, I did enjoy something of the film. Were those fight sequences in the beginning, where they were like in the cage fighting.
Yeah,
I thought that was a good concept of having these mutants like in cages fighting. Like, I thought that was actually pretty cool. I would have actually liked to seen more of that and less of.
And
fucking
I like the new Nightcrawler. I enjoyed.
I did too.
Yeah, he'll be good too.
Yeah.
I thought
I think they're in decent footing moving forward. They got this.
Isn't that? I feel like that's what we say after every superhero movie. Yeah. Like, they set it up really nicely for all the other future episodes.
Next one, they're good.
Yeah.
X-Men movies are usually pretty good as far as living in their own movie, though. You don't always know there are 3 or 4 more movies planned when it comes to X-Men movies, so you can almost enjoy them as standalone movies more than Marvel movies. I always feel.
Yeah, I wouldn't say X-Men movies feel particularly planned, but they think they're going to make more anyway.
No, I mean they're definitely making more Deadpool. They're making another. They're going to make an X-Force. And they're going to keep making X-Men until it really bombs out. If X-Men Last Stand didn't kill it, then this movie certainly won't.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Well, let's.
You guys want to talk about Star Wars? I can talk about Star Wars. For a while.
Let's put the phone number up. See if anyone's going to call in. If no one calls in, we'll just start wrapping up.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Also, Rogue One is going to be fine. People need to stop complaining. Rogue One is going to be a great movie. Everyone shut up.
Okay.
Page 6. Page 6. Not worried about it.
Hey, I do have a question about Quicksilver's powers, though. How is Quicksilver able to make the Miss Pac-Man game go faster? Does he have like a force field of speed?
Again,
it's the best question ever, all day.
You guys are looking too far into these things. His wrist is faster than the average wrist, and it goes fast. He pissed into the back of the machine. It went faster. Did anyone care that they gave away that he's Magneto's son in the trailer? That kind of annoyed me.
Didn't they already hint at that in the last movie?
We already knew it, kind of, but it was never said. And to say it in a trailer, I thought was kind of weird.
Now, do you think Magneto's motivations at the end are just kind of stupid? Like, I would have rather Mystique died and that kind of get Magneto snapped out of it.
Yeah, that would have been better. I think they just want to try and get her back again, but she could have died. It would have been better.
It would have been. It would, that would, or if like he found out that Quicksilver is his son, like would have worked better.
I think they didn't want to go so over dramatic, where he's like, "I'm your son," kind of a stupid scene, like a Martha scene. But it was weird that Storm knew at the end, and no one else, and Magneto still didn't know. That was kind of odd.
I don't think. That wouldn't have felt weird at all in this movie, though. He came one word away from saying it. I mean, I think we were all expecting he'd say that, and then Magneto would, start to realize it. And instead, you just have this implication that he's kind of thinking about it on the same lines. I don't think it's anywhere near as cheesy as some of the Martha stuff.
Man, the Martha stuff is up here compared to a lot of this in this film. I honestly.
That's amazingly, I think Zack Snyder pulled off the most nuanced superhero movie of the summer.
He did. He really did. Yeah.
I don't know how, but he did it.
As far as these three movies that we've roundtabled, this Batman versus Superman is the thinking man's movie, comparatively speaking.
Right after watching that one, I never would have thought that would be the case. But, it's like Dan talks about walking out, and you like go to the bathroom, you're thinking like, God, do I really have to go back in? I had that in each one of these movies. I had that moment. And I walk away, and Batman vs. Superman is the only one I kind of have some fun thoughts about still.
Now, did you saw Deadpool, right?
No, I haven't seen Deadpool.
You haven't seen Deadpool yet?
No.
And that's the one everyone liked. I like that one the least.
Oh, really? See, I think Deadpool had my favorite X-Men of this year.
What, Colossus?
I think Colossus and Negasonic Union were my favorite X-Men of this year. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the best X-Men movie, maybe ever. This might be the best. That Deadpool might be the best X-Men movie we ever got.
I would still say X2, and then Days of Future Past are better.
Again, I'm going to go back to Snyder's eye and how he does things. When there's a special effect in a Snyder movie, it almost always feels like it's in slow-mo. When someone jumps, it's like you really see it's just a very slow-moving process. I find it fascinating, and I'm not necessarily talking shit. I just find it interesting. Snyder shoots it, or excuse me, not Snyder.
Singer
shoots it like slower pace than other people. It's really fascinating.
Singer shoots it slower really is a tongue twister. So
it really is. Oh, I can barely talk anyway, so.
So we got no one calling in.
Calls.
Yeah, I don't think anybody.
My last thought I want to say is
we got 9 people watching.
When Xavier's like, "You're in my house now," that was my favorite part. That wins. Then the house forms around.
Yeah, that was so silly. That's the only time that Apocalypse gets really big is in a dream sequence of sorts.
Is that his power? Can he get bigger?
That's his thing. That's what he does. He gets really giant. He grows. Like, do you remember the action figure? He just like you pull the legs out.
I was never really a big X-Men person. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Apocalypse was supposed to get really big, and he got big in a dream sequence.
Yeah. I just X-Men is so one-dimensional to me. It's always humans going, mutants. I hate them. We got to kill them.
This one probably had the least of that. By
yeah,
far,
it actually did. Yeah, you're right about that. This was the more nuanced look at humanity. Yeah.
Now, if there was a fake Reagan, would this movie have been better for anybody?
Well, I don't think you can top Bruce Campbell as Reagan in Fargo. So can't top that.
That's the pinnacle
think,
right there.
That's
could have had Will Ferrell Reagan
with Alzheimer's.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap up. If no one's gonna call in.
Yeah.
I think we've trashed this movie enough, and I think to the point where Marty now is wondering if he's ever going to do the show again. Suicide
I finally
Squad.
got the
Marty.
fucking Skype working. I'm doing something.
Suicide Squad. I think you'll have a blast with that one.
I'm worried about that one. I think Will Smith's going to Will Smith that thing to death.
Is Will Smith even Will Smith anymore?
Will Smith.
Yeah,
is Will Smith.
He's always Will Smith.
Okay,
when
just
he's,
checking.
Yeah. he's gonna all hell know it a lot. Yeah.
Oh God.
I don't know if I can do that one. At this point, after these three, I don't know if I can handle any more superhero stuff.
I think we all need a breather. That's for sure.
I'll wait until we do Ghostbusters. Well, I think we're gonna probably try to do Neon Demon, Tom. So that might be more of your speed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd see that for sure.
Yeah.
I think we'll try to do that. So that might be the next roundtable. Would be Neon Demon next month.
When's that come out? Is that next month?
End of June.
Okay.
June 24th. So I think we'll probably aim for that, and then God, we're gonna do Ghostbusters. We got to.
At least we don't have to talk about the movie so much with that one. We can talk more about the marketing and there's other things you can get into with that. With these, we're stuck talking about the movie, and that's kind of painful.
Yeah, we're going to be doing like 2 roundtables back to back. Then it's going to be Ghostbusters and Star Trek, like a week apart from each other.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Fun times. So pencil in, everyone. We're gonna get these going. All right. I guess we'll just wrap up then. It was fun. Guess we'll be back on Thursday with our Master Debater show.
That's right.
Hopefully, everyone shows up. Are we actually going to go live on that one?
I don't know. We haven't discussed it yet. We are definitely planning on taking the show offline and then just uploading the video later. I don't know what we'll do Thursday.
So we'll see. We'll see. But we're going to have Sean join us.
Sean?
Thursday?
Yeah.
John's going to join us. And John Arry. John Arry is going to join us.
Yes.
So.
And you, Dan. And you.
And me.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be here. Hopefully. if I don't pull a D and Jamil. My camera's not working. Look. Guys, where'd I go? No, so we'll be back on Thursday with Master Debaters. Tom will be back next Monday with Veggie Lasagna. He's had better luck with getting his show on the air than we've had.
Yeah, no joke.
We'll be reviewing The Lobster on Monday.
Oh, nice. Very cool. So we got that. And me and Abe will be back next Tuesday. I don't have a topic yet.
We're going to do the top 10 movies and stuff episodes.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Marty, we'll have you on again, I'm sure.
Glad to be
Not
here, guys.
completely turned off by it and was crying.
X-Men is fun. Shut up.
Any final words, guys?
I think I said mine.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Done with these superhero things.
Yeah, I think we need a breather.
Later.
All right.
Night, guys.